Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Dr. Tony Chopper, and this is part 5, the grading process, the finale for the Massacred Wing Gundam Proto Zero. In this part, we're going to throw him through the grading process that I've made, and hopefully he does a good score, and hopefully I can help you with your decision whether or not to buy him, or at least educate you. Without further ado, let's get started. As he's spinning around, we're going to start off with articulation. Now, it's one of the areas that is very, very meaningful in a kit, especially a master grade. Now, in terms of his articulation, he does a relatively decent job. Several areas I want to make note of, though, is the elbows can actually do a full 180-degree bend. It's not really that close to it. And also, the legs can be a little bit finicky, and the ankle articulation going backward is near none. Also, the toes pointing forward, you don't get very much of that either. And the waist is a little bit too articulate. So, my score for articulation for him is a solid 8.5 out of 10. There are some areas that could be done a little bit better, and quite frankly, they weren't executed the way that they should have been. In terms of playability and options, this kit gets a solid 10 out of 10. And that's mainly because he can transform into Neo Bird mode. And he has an assortment of weapons. He has the Twin Buster Rifle, his shield, the transformation itself, I guess. Also, you get these beam sabers. You have the option to connect him with different parts for the display base. You get that one, this one, and then the standard one you put into an action base. Also, a bajillion of these manipulators. Whether you love them or hate them, at least they threw them in. Personally, I like the solid hand construction better, but that's just me. But yes, he gets a solid 10 out of 10 for playability and options. When it comes to gimmicks, this guy is fully loaded. Not only do you get the standard ones, like the piping in the head with lighting, the chest that opens up for the cockpit, some movable armor parts for the knees, albeit just a little bit. Actually, no moving parts for the elbows in terms of gimmicks there. But you get the frickin' Neo Bird mode. This transformable gimmick that's been there the entire time. Also things like the wings, if you move one wing binder, the other one moves. These are all little things that all add up. And in terms of gimmicks, this guy gets a solid 10 out of 10. Next up on our list, we have Posability. Now, this guy can actually go into a plethora of different poses, but several things do get in the way. Things like the shield will get in your way if you want to pose, and there are some weight issues along with that as well in terms of posing. So you are a little bit limited to what you can actually put him into. In that sense, he gets an average score of just 6.5 out of 10. A little bit below average if you think about it. And that's because there are a lot of limitations to what you can and cannot do. Things like the manipulators, if you want to do the Twin Buster Rifle shooting pose, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Things are going to fall off. And the posability, although you can do a lot is also obstructed. So that's why he gets such a low score. Next up on our list, we have our sturdiness. Now, this is one of the most important things on the kit that must be addressed, and it always has to be there unless the kit will suffer tremendously. Now, there are several areas where you're going to want to kill yourself about. Number 1, these manipulators. Not sturdy at all. They fall off all the time, hard to put in the hand, and it's equally hard when you're trying to pose them. Things do fall off. Number 2, we have the sturdiness with the legs down here. Now, the legs do split apart every now and then, and when you're trying to pose them, the toes do get in the way, and you just get this very loose feeling, especially with the transformation. Things do not go over very well in that sense, and that really hinders the performance of this guy. In terms of his skirts, they're also a little bit loose, and they do get in the way, and they do also fall off quite easily, which is kind of annoying and much of a disappointment. And lastly, the most important thing when it comes to being sturdy, you gotta have a good core, you gotta have good abs. And I hate to say it, but the Wing Gundam Proto Zero has terrible sturdiness right there. He's going to flop all around, and this is going to cause you to not be able to pull off all the poses you want. he's going to move one way or the other, and it was a really, really big shame that they didn't go about making that area a little bit stronger. Seems like they skimped out right there, and that's one of the most vital parts of any master grade. So you can see it's very, very loose, and actually inside the construction doesn't even look that good anyways, and yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed. So he gets a sturdiness score of a measly 5 out of 10, just inking by. Now, with all the things I've been saying, you might be saying to yourself, man, this kid actually sucks. But it does have its good points as well, believe it or not. Now, one of the awesome things here that this guy does have is absolutely beautiful color separation. It's actually kind of insane how good the colors actually come across. Nothing needs to be painted. It looks great out of the box just as it is. The yellows pop, the reds pop, the white, the blue, the everything, really. It all just works well together. And even then, the color separation is absolutely amazing. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do with him. And in terms of painting, everything can be disassembled. It's going to be a little bit difficult. The kit wasn't made, at least I don't think so, with painting in mind 100%, but overall he does do a really good job of separating the colors, and that way you can have a pretty decent time when it comes to things like that. And he gets, of course, a solid 10 out of 10 for color separation. Now, in terms of proportions, this guy does a relatively good job. When I mean relatively, I mean it's 100% spot on. There's no anything that does look out of place. The legs look just the right size. The Buster rifles, they look right around the good size as well. The shield doesn't look out of place at all. And the wings. If there is one thing I could have wished for, it was slightly larger wings, but that's just a personal preference. But overall, the waist doesn't look smaller or anything. Everything looks just the way it should be, really. And in doing so, this guy scores a very solid 10 out of 10 for the proportions of himself. Overall looks for this guy, he does incredibly well for himself. Now when you put him straight out of the box and just put on a couple things like one or two of the stickers, heck, remember guys, I didn't even pen align him, I didn't even put on like all the stickers, and there's some drive transfer decals that are actually in this thing as well. I actually didn't do a whole lot, and he still looks freaking amazing right out of the box. And when I look at him, although the design is slightly different from what the TV version actually looked like, it still reminds me a whole lot of the Wing series. And with that being said, he does capture the essence of what the cartoon was like, the anime was like, and that's really, really important in my opinion. And with that being said, he gets a very solid 10 out of 10 for overall look and appearance. He does remind me a whole bunch of what I used to watch back in the day, and it's doing a relatively good job of that. In terms of nub marks and seam lines, this guy does a very good job of hiding all those nasty bits. Now there is one seam line I would like to point out, but that's kind of built into the helmet, believe it or not, and that is on the back of the head. Hopefully you guys can see it, or I should just bring it closer to you. Now, the back of the head right here, there is a seam line right there. Hopefully you guys can see it, but that's kind of built into the design. Now, with that being said, that means that Bandai pretty much incorporated seam lines, or seam line removal and hiding them. They've took it amongst themselves, and they did a very, very good job this time around, at least. In terms of nub marks, I didn't really find any anywhere that are noticeable enough for me to point out for you. So, in that sense, this kit is very, very solid. And it gets itself a solid 10 out of 10 for nub marks and seam line removal. Alright, in terms of weapons and accessories, this guy does just about an average job. His Buster Rifle kinda gets in the way with its weight issues, especially when it's combined together like this. It's kinda sad. Depending on what angle you put these at, they will droop down and cause it to look very bad. On the other side, with the shield, although it looks absolutely beautiful with the different colors on it, the moment you put a Buster Rifle in hand with the shield there, the entire arm is going to droop down and it's going to look terrible. And that's also going to cause the weight issue in here to actually come out. The sturdiness will be in question there as well. The beam sabers are, standard beam sabers, nothing to them, pretty standard. And the inside of the wing binder, I really wish that Bandai went a little bit further and gave us more mechanical detail. It looks very, very minimalistic and bare bones, and quite frankly, it kind of reminds me of a high grade. And that's why this guy gets a 7 out of 10 for weapons and accessories. Alright guys, in terms of extras, this guy does really well. He comes with a base, a display base to hold himself up. Even though this is from a couple years back, it doesn't matter. Don't break what is not broken, really. It doesn't move near the bottom, which is good. It remains as posed forever, which is nice. Also, you get the added benefit of this connection point here that's really solid. Haven't had any issues with it falling off yet. Also, you do get a connection point for putting it up underneath the crotch if you want to, for the normal action base, and also a connection point to here that you can put in for the Neo Bird mode. And with that being said, he gets a decent score of 5 out of 10. Now, in order to get a 10 out of 10 in the extras category, I'm looking for effect parts and a display base, a whole bunch of different things, different decal sheets and whatnot, water slides. Like, we're talking the whole 9 yards would get you a very nice score like that. But he does himself pretty good with this display base here. That's why he gets his 5 out of 10. Alright now guys, and as he is spinning around, I gotta give you my final score for the Master Grade Wing Gundam Proto Zero. He gets a staggering 92 out of 100, which gives him a final score and letter grade of an A+. Now I remember I said that this kit does have a lot of issues and whatnot, but overall the positives do outweigh the negatives. And with that being said, everything with him, it makes him a very complete package. Basically, the score of getting the extra 5 points from the stand and the extras really helped them out. Without it, he would be just an average-ish, a slightly above average master grade. With the stand and all the other things that are thrown in there, it gives him a very good score. Now, if you are looking forward to getting this kit, I would tell you to go out and get him. The price is relatively good for something like this. You get a whole bunch of extras. Now, just be careful when you're trying to pose with different accessories and weapons. They can be a little bit finicky. And also when you're building things like the Buster Rifle, the Twin Buster Rifle, just be very, very careful because it is a little bit flimsy and, yeah, a little lacking there. And if you are the kind of guy or girl who goes in and likes to spruce things up with a little bit of customization, don't forget these wing units. They need some attention. Alright everyone, and that concludes our review for the Master Grade Wing Gundam Proto Zero. Now I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, be sure to give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. Also, don't forget to share this with some of your friends, and hopefully we can see the channel grow a little bit during this Christmas season. And my name is Dr. Tony Chopper, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.